Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you a Sword Bard Hexblade Warlock build guide in Baldur's Gate 3. So the Hexblade Warlock and the Sword Bard have a ton of synergy together, which I've been testing over the last few weeks, and I got an awesome combination of classes here for us. So we'll be starting off with the Bard, and for our cantrips, I like to take Vicious Mockery. It's got some funny lines, but it also gives us a disadvantage on the next attack roll, and we'll go with Minor Illusion, because we can group enemies together, and you can do a lot of cool things outside of combat with this cantrip. As for the spells that we'll be going with, I think it's best to go with, we're going to go with Healing Word for a bonus action heal, Dissonant Whispers, which can give disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls and make the target not able to move, and Thunderwave, because you can get some easy picks sometimes. If someone's near a ledge, you can Thunderwave them off of it. It's just a very useful spell. For a level 1 spell slot, sometimes you can take out some very strong enemies with this. And for the final spell, either Fairy Fire or Longstrider will be best for us. I'm just going to go with the Longstrider there. And for our ability scores, I think it's best to go 16 Dexterity, 14 Constitution, 10 Intelligence and Wisdom, and 16 Charisma here. Charisma is going to be our attack rolls and spell rolls, so we want to have a very high Charisma. And I'll be covering gear options as well as showing it off in combat, and this combination of classes is very strong. So I guess here now at level 2, we got ourselves the Jack of all trades and the Song of Rest. Now this is going to be a build for honor mode, although I can show off in the future a normal mode where we go 5 levels of the Warlock, but for today we're going to be going all in on the Bard. As for the spells, Tasha's Hideous Laughter can be another nice choice, or Fairy Fire there. And we get the Jack of all trades gives us half a proficiency bonus on any ability checks that we're not proficient in. At level 3 we get to choose our subclass. The College Glamour, not that great. College's Sword, very good. So with this, we get to choose a level 2 spell. I would recommend taking Hold Person. And for the fighting style, Dueling or 2-weapon fighting. This obviously depends if you're going to wear a shield or not, and we are. So we're going to go with the Dueling feat, which will give us a +2 damage on all of our attacks. Melee weapon attacks. At level 4, we get ourselves a cantrip here, so we can go with Mage Hand or Friends if you're the face of the party. And for our next leveled spell, I think Cloud of Daggers works very well, although Invisibility and Heat Metal are 2 other really great choices we could go with. Even Crown of Madness can be decent at times, but Cloud of Dagger doesn't have a check. People just take damage walking through it. For our feat, we're going to go with an ability score improvement on our Charisma stat. Just a good choice when we do everything with Charisma. At level 5, we get improved Bardic Inspiration going up to 1d8, and then we regain our Bardic Inspiration on short or long rest. We get level 3 spells with some very good choices like Fear, which can make targets drop everything and get disadvantage on attack rolls. Glyph of Warding, which can make them take damage. We can set this up outside of combat. And Plant Growth, which is concentration free crowd control. We're gonna go with the Fear spell because it's actually very underrated. It hits the cone and it just makes everyone drop their weapons and become fearful. At level 6, we get the extra attack here, so we can now attack 4 times per turn if we use our bow. And for our spells that we go in with, I think it's good to go Glyph of Warding as well. Now, once we get ourselves up to level 7 here, we just choose another level. We get to choose a level 4 spell, with Confusion being a very great option. With Confusion, you can confuse a group of targets and they'll start attacking each other. At level 8, this is when we get ourselves another feat and another spell here. Greater Invisibility can be really nice if you want to play kind of a stealthy build. And I'll show you, we can do some pretty crazy stuff with this as well. And for the feats, I would recommend going with an ability score improvement again on our Charisma. So that's obviously going to be very powerful for us. At level 9, we get to choose a level 5 spell. I think Hold Monster is a great choice to go with. And then level 10, this is Magical Secrets, which is why we went this level. For the other build, I'll be doing 7 levels of the Bard, 5 levels of the Warlock. With the Warlock, they get Pact of the Blade, so you can do 3 attacks with their Pact weapon. So our cantrip here will just take Friends, and then for the spell that we'll be choosing at level 5, Dominate Person or Planar Binding can be really nice as well. And for the Magical Secrets, we could go back and take the Hunger of Hadar. We could also go with Spirit Guardians. There's also the Darkness spell, which we will be able to take big advantages of. Or if you have someone else in your team that can cast Darkness. If you really want to maximize damage, Banishing, Smite, Cone of Cold, and the Conjure Elemental are our best choices. With this, we can actually create a Water Myrmidon, which creates the Water Myrmidon will make everyone vulnerable to cold damage, or the Water Elemental, its main attack will create a vulnerability to cold damage. So these actually get very synergetic here. Although we can also just go with a Banishing Smite. So the Banishing Smite and Cone of Cold combination is actually pretty nice as well, if you don't want to take the Conjure Elemental. And for our ability scores, we're going to be going with our persuasion and intimidation, 2 dialogue checks. Nice to have. And we could continue here, but I think it's best to now add in the warlock and the HEXBLADE, which gives us a shield spell and the wrathful smite, which we can use our normal spell slots on. We get the bind hex weapon and the HEXBLADE's curse. Our hex weapon will apply the HEXBLADE's curse on attacks, but we can also apply it with a bonus action. What's nice about the HEXBLADE's curse is it makes it so that the target takes 4 more damage and we have a higher critical hit chance against them. I recommend taking the shield spell because we can use this with our normal spell slots. Don't use your warlock ones. You can, I guess, if we're not going too high. Wrathful smite can be nice for the extra psychic damage and makes the target frightened, although you can also add in the hellish rebuke. Hex is another option you got. We definitely want to be taking Eldritch Blast, and we're going to go with Booming Blade as well. So those will be our cantrips. And then to level 2, we got Eldritch Invocations, and we get to choose 2 more spells. So Armor of Agathis is kind of nice, and we could go with the Hex spell, or we can take Wrathful Smite. And for the Eldritch Invocations, Agonizing Blast works very well, so you can add your Charisma modifier to the damage, and then Repelling Blast. However, Devil's Sight, if you have someone that on your team that's able to cast Darkness, we can go with this. You could also take the Shar Spear of the Evening, which will basically give you this as well. And it gives you the Darkness spell. Darkness is going to be huge for us because we can hide out in it. So take the Agonizing Blast and the Repelling Blast. But if you want to add in the Devil's Sight here, we can actually add that in, and we can abuse the Darkness mechanics in this game. I want to show you a couple different ways that we can go about doing this different way. So with the Warlock, we get the Eldritch Blast. I'm also playing a Drow, so I get the Darkness spell. And for our gear that we'll be going with, I like the Birthright Hat. This gives you a +2 to your Charisma, which is super nice. Gives us a +1 to modifiers. Although we can also go with the Helmet of Arcane Acuity because we can use the Arrow of Many Targets to stack up a high Arcane Acuity, and then our spells will never miss. I also like the Cloak Protection for the better armor class, but the Dirge Cape also works well. And for our armor, there's a few options that we got. Since we do have medium armor proficiency, if we add in the Armor of Agility, that just gives us a nice armor class. Although the Ballast armor is probably the best in slot for us. It's light armor. What happens with the Ballast armor is we get it applies vulnerability to piercing damage on the enemies surrounding us. So whenever we attack, we're dealing double damage, which is very strong. I also like to have the Gloves of Belligerent Skies worked pretty well here if you got thunder damage, but you can also go with something like, if we wanted to dump dexterity, we could use dexterity gloves early game. We also got the Helldust Gloves, which give us a plus bonus to our spell attack rolls and spell save DC, and additional fire damage on our attacks. That just ends up being the best. Legacy of the Masters isn't great, but it's an okay option if you wanted to. I just think that the Helldust Gloves, since this will benefit us in 2 ways, it works best. And we also get the Rays of Fire cantrip here, which is basically like a Scorching Ray. And the Evasive Shoes is nice. Now I'm using the Sword of Life Stealing, but we can use really any weapon. Early game, Fowler Alluve is going to be a good choice because this will give us the Singing Song or Shrieking Song. As you proceed into the mid game, you can go with like the Knife of the Intermounted King as well, because this is also piercing damage, and it gives you a nice bonus there whenever we're obscured, which we want to try to be as much as possible. The Infernal Rapier, which will give us the charisma rolls already. We don't really need that. So the Justicia or Scimitar is kind of nice. If you attack with advantage, you can possibly blind the target. But I think the best choice, Shar Spear of the Evening. So this will give us advantage on saving throws when heavy or lightly obscured, and we get Charged Darkness, and we get a Darkness attack. This just makes the build come together in a way that no others can. Otherwise, I said you take the Darkness feat, and then you could use one of the weapons I mentioned previously. Because when we got this, we get ourselves the Edge of Darkness, which creates darkness for us to hide out in, and we can see in it using this. I also got the Viconia's Walking Fortress, the Hellrider Longbow for +3 initiative, Ring of Protection, Killer Sweetheart for free crit, and Amulet of Greater Health. However, there's also another spell that works really well here with the Man of the Mystic Scoundrel. So this will allow us to cast Hold Person as a bonus action, which is crazy. We could also go with like a Confusion spell as a bonus action. This takes our skill set up to 11. We also can do Fear as a bonus action. We can do Greater Invisibility as a bonus action. You can even cast some other cantrips here, Enchantment or Illusion. So you got a lot. You can even do like a Dissonant Whispers. This combines together to make us very, very powerful, which I will now show off in combat. Now, before we get into combat, we can apply our Long Strider to ourselves to give ourselves more movement speed. And then we can also add the Bardic Inspiration on a teammate here if we want to add a nice bonus, because it says use a bonus action, but we can also use our Bardic Inspiration die for other purposes, which you'll see here. So I guess to start things off, we'll just get ourselves into a combat encounter. You can start off by just dropping a spell, or we can just go with an attack here. I'm just going to try and cheese a simple thunder wave and knock as many as I can off of this cliff here. Boom, it worked perfectly. So that angered a couple of them. That's perfect. Now getting into combat, we can go ahead with doing our darkness shenanigans. So we have a pushback on our Eldritch Blast, which is really nice. You can see there, we got a lot of different spells. I completely forgot to bind our pack weapon. You can't do that in combat, but that's going to apply the Hexblade's Curse, which we have here as a bonus action. So what we can do is, I would recommend first off, starting off by setting up darkness. So we have the Edge of Darkness here. This will be our camp that we're going to hide out in. We missed, but we still applied the darkness. And now what we can do, I would recommend also using hand crossbows too, because you could also just go with the, you can go with a flourish attack. If we go with the slashing flourish, we can basically target the same target twice, and this is hopefully going to take them out. It did perfectly. 44 damage on one of those shots. It's pretty crazy. And now we got our little camp out spot. And as a nice treat, we got the ability to do enchantment spells bonus action. So we can drop down something like this confusion spell and hopefully can hit a large number of targets. Sometimes you do want to mess around finding the best area to drop this, but we'll just try it right here and see if we got counterspelled. That's okay. It's the thought that counts. So we do lose our spell slot, unfortunately. Counterspell is something that you can't really predict. It's just going to come. So yeah, now we're going to hide out in our darkness, and what's nice about this is it messes with the enemy's AI. They've randomly did an unarmed strike against us. I don't know why. That's very odd of them. But what's nice, we got a lot of different options there to return fire. Now they're not going to do bow attacks, but they'll do throwing attacks. For some reason, when darkness evolved, it's a bug in the game where they'll just continually throw weapons at us. They also might try to attack us, but they're not going to have a good chance of hitting us, which is really nice. And then whenever they get in close, we got options that we can do a lot of damage with. So you can see that they're starting to throw at us. Sometimes it will hit, but it's not going to hurt us too badly. They just won't do any melee attacks. They'll just focus on throwing for whatever reason. We got surrounded here, which may seem bad, but we have lots of options anytime that we're surrounded. So we could try to cheese our way around by moving around there, but we also got Cone of Cold. So we can move around freely in our darkness and set up to be able to hit as many people as possible with this. So sometimes you do got to get creative with your angles for the Cone of Cold. You can see there, we're able to hit everybody with this, so that's going to be nice. We can get counterspelled, of course we did. But that's not to fear, because we can do it again and again and again as we need. So we'll just drop another one of those there, and then that'll hopefully take them out or do quite a bit of damage. So that hurt them quite nicely. If you also got a Mind Blast, you can go with something like that, just to clear out any close enemies that we got. But since we didn't do a weapon attack, we don't get our special ability to cast, so we may as well use something like that. If you don't got the Illithid abilities, that's okay. With your bonus action, you can use that to apply the Hexblade's Curse on an enemy. But Mind Blast is crazy strong, so we're just going to use it here because this is just super useful for clearing out this spot. And that took out 7 or 8, but it also brought in 4 more soldiers for us to fight, so that was a nice trade-off. And you can see, they'll come close to us, but they'll just continually do throwing attacks, which is pretty silly because it doesn't really do a whole lot of damage. Most of these don't have Tavern Brawler like noobs, so yeah, a lot of the times they're just going to shout, arrest them! Another random dialogue. So this is our chance, because now we can do another Slashing Flourish, and the nice thing with Slashing Flourish is now we're attacking from advantage. So boom, we took them out. Then we can go with another Slashing Flourish here, and we'll hopefully take out this caster because they're a liability for us. Boom, that's perfect. The most beautiful thing about the Bardic Inspiration is you can attack the same target twice, or you can go ahead with doing something like a Slashing Flourish on this target and a Slashing Flourish on this target, and hopefully this will do a good amount of damage. Woo, we took out that one, and both of them, nice. So that was huge. And we got one more Slashing Flourish to deliver, so pretty crazy the amount of damage you can output with this. I guess we'll just attack the same target twice. Boom, that took them out. Yeah, this is crazy. The Sword Bard is overpowered. And then to finish off, we got ourselves a nice hold person duo. So we can go with a level 3 version of this, which will give us 2 basically hold person on them. End their turn. They can't do their turns. Oh, he saved on it. That's interesting. And then we can line up to get ourselves another bow attack off. Or we got, again, a lot of different options for damage. So we could go with something silly like an upcasted Cloud of Daggers. We already have the hold person concentration, so we probably shouldn't do that. So we could go with another different type of attack, like a ranged one. So we just go with bow attack there. If we were able to get close to them, we would be able to do critical hits off of that. But unfortunately, since the area that we're at, the Mother Brain, I don't know how that missed. the mother brain will get upset with us, so we won't be doing that. But what's nice is whenever you get the ranged weapon attack off, he's got 27 health left. So what we can do is, since we can cast any of these spells, we got Dissonant Whispers, which we can do, or Vicious Mockery, which Vicious Mockery doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but Dissonant Whispers can, because we'll upcast it for a little bit more damage. Now at, he's only got 27 health left, so I think a level 2 one should be more than fine. Boom, that took him out. Dissonant Whispers worked very well. And we'll just end our turn there. They're still hold person. And yeah, then we can just continually do some more bow attacks there to take them out. So yeah, this is very strong, as you can see. Oh, we got a critical hit off. Boom, there we are. So the Hexblade. What's nice about this is you get the ability to see in darkness, or you get the Eldritch Blast. You also get Booming Blade too, which I didn't get a chance to show off. The Hexblade's Curse, the Bind Pact Weapon, which is nice because this gives you your charisma for your attack rolls. And you can really add in the Warlock at any time that you start to get a high charisma. So yeah, this is a fun class. The Sword Bard itself is very overpowered. I love it though. It's fun to play. Let me know your thoughts though in the comments below. This class does benefit a lot from short resting, because then you get all your slashing flourishes back, and you also get the Song of Rest, which will restore all of that to you. So it's strong. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit the subscribe button below if you haven't already, and I'll see you all in the next one.